Music. Stop the music. Stop the music. My friends, this is Howard Riell, and this is Real Truth. You know, I don't think I have ever started a show with a news item from either the End of the American Dream blog or the Economic Collapse blog, but I'm going to do it today because this is absolutely essential that you hear. And parenthetically, I'll throw in that 1 week from today, next Thursday, will be our 4th anniversary here on Real Truth, and the author of the article I'm about to relate to you, Michael Snyder, will be my guest. He is the founder and editor of both the End of the American Dream blog and the Economic Collapse blog. He will be here 1 week from today. In the meantime, he's written a piece that you have absolutely got to hear. The headline, 40 points that prove that Barack Obama and Mitt Romney are essentially the same candidate. It's so important, I have to start the show with it, even without the music. Let's hit it. Item from the End of the American Dream blog. What a depressing choice the American people are presented with this year. We are at a point in our history where we desperately need to change direction in the White House, and we're guaranteed that we're not going to get it. The Democrats are running the worst president in American history, and the Republicans are running a guy who is almost a carbon copy of him. The fact that about half the country is still supporting Barack Obama shows how incredibly stupid and corrupt the American people have become. No American should ever cast a single vote for Barack Obama for any political office under any circumstances. He should never have been the assistant superintendent in charge of janitorial supplies, much less the president of the United States. The truth is that Barack Obama has done such a horrible job that he should immediately resign along with his entire cabinet. But instead of giving us a clear choice, the Republicans nominated the Republican that was most similar to Barack Obama. In fact, I don't think we've ever had two candidates for president that are so similar. Yes, there are a few minor differences between them, but the truth is that we are heading into Obama's second term no matter which one of them gets elected. The mainstream media makes it sound like Obama and Romney are bitter ideological rivals, but that is a giant lie. Yeah, they are slinging lots of mud at each other, and they both play for the same team, and the losers are going to be the American people. Republicans are being told that they have no choice but to vote for Romney because otherwise they'll get another 4 years of Obama. The lesser of two evils theme comes out every 4 years. We're told that we must vote for a horrible candidate because the other guy's even worse. Well, millions of Americans are getting sick of this routine. Perhaps that's why it's being projected that as many as 90 million Americans of voting age will not vote this year. Yes, Barack Obama has been so horrible as president that it's hard to put it into words, but Mitt Romney would be just like Barack Obama. Those that are dreaming of a major change in direction if Romney is elected are going to be bitterly, bitterly disappointed. The following are 40 ways that Barack Obama and Mitt Romney are essentially the same candidate. Number one, Barack Obama and Mitt Romney both supported TARP. 2, Mitt Romney supported Barack Obama's economic stimulus packages. 3, Mitt Romney says Barack Obama's bailout of the auto industry was actually his idea. 4, neither candidate supports immediately balancing the federal budget. 5, they both believe in big government, and they both have a track record of being big spenders while in office. 6, Barack Obama and Mitt Romney both fully support the Federal Reserve. 7, Barack Obama and Mitt Romney are both on record as saying that the president should not question the independence of the Federal Reserve. 8, Barack Obama and Mitt Romney have both said that Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke did a good job during the last financial crisis. 9, Barack Obama and Mitt Romney both felt the Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke deserved to be renominated to a second term. 10, both candidates oppose a full audit of the Federal Reserve. 11, both candidates are on record as saying U.S. Treasury Secretary Tim Geithner has done a good job. 12, Barack Obama and Mitt Romney have both been big promoters of universal health care. 13, Mitt Romney was the one who developed the plan that Obamacare was later based upon. 14, Wall Street absolutely showers both candidates with campaign contributions. 15, neither candidate wants to eliminate the income tax or the IRS. 16, both candidates personal income taxes at the exact same levels for the vast majority of Americans. 17, both candidates are open to the idea of imposing a value-added tax on the American people. 18, Barack Obama and Mitt Romney both believe TSA is doing a great job. 19, Barack Obama and Mitt Romney both supported the NDAA. 20, Barack Obama and Mitt Romney both supported the renewal of the Patriot Act. 21, Barack Obama and Mitt Romney both believe that the federal government should be able to indefinitely detain American citizens that are considered to be terrorists. 22, both candidates believe that American citizens suspected of being terrorists can be killed by the president without a trial. 23, Barack Obama has not closed Guantanamo Bay like he promised to do, and Mitt Romney actually wants to double the numbers of prisoners held there. 24, both candidates support the practice of extraordinary rendition. 25, they both support the job-killing free trade agenda of the global elite. 26, they both accuse each other of shipping jobs out of the country, and both of them are right. 27, both candidates are extremely soft on illegal immigration. 28, neither candidate has any military experience. This is the first time this has happened in the U.S. election since 1944. 29, both candidates earned a degree from Harvard University. 30, they both believe in the theory of man-made global warming. 31, Mitt Romney has said he will support a cap-and-trade carbon tax scheme like the one Barack Obama wants, as long as the entire globe goes along with it. 32, both candidates have a very long record of supporting strict gun control measures. 33, both candidates have been pro-abortion most of their careers. Mitt Romney's conversion, quote-unquote, to the pro-life cause has been questioned by many. In fact, Romney has made millions on Bain Capital's investment in a company called Stericycle that incinerates aborted babies collected from family planning clinics. 34, Barack Obama and Mitt Romney both believe that the Boy Scout ban on openly gay troop leaders is wrong. 35, they both believe that a two-state solution will bring lasting peace between the Palestinians and Israel. 36, both candidates have a history of nominating extremely liberal judges. 37, like Barack Obama, Mitt Romney also plans to add signing statements to bills when he signs them into law. 38, they both have a horrible record when it comes to job creation. 39, both candidates believe the president has the power to take the country to war without getting the approval of the U.S. Congress. And as for number 40, my friends, that's on the other end of this commercial break. This is Real Truth. It's Thursday. Go nowhere. We'll be right back.
And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. John bore witness of him and cried out, saying, This was he of whom I said, He who comes after me is preferred before me, for he was before me. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 14 and 15. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed. This is the America News Network. Whether you're in automotive, sporting goods, hardware, health, wellness, electrical, electronics, construction, carpet cleaning, legal, or animal care, and offer exceptional customer service and provide quality services or goods, you're honest, reliable, and professional. If you have a business, we have the customers. Let us put you in touch with our loyal, supportive, and dedicated listeners today. They're waiting to hear from you. It's inexpensive. It's effective. Call KHNC at 1-800-205-6245. CINN Stations in Alt salutes our troops. Whether you're for the war or against it, they're still there. These men and women deserve more than our support. They deserve the comfort of home. Send a military care package today. Just type military care package into a search engine. Point and click. Let's show our troops we care. This message from CINN Stations in Alt, wishing Godspeed to our fighting men and women and thanking them for their triumphs and their sacrifices.
Welcome back to Real Truth. My friends, I'm going to keep you in suspense a little bit longer for with reason number 40, that Barack Obama and Mitt Romney are basically, essentially the same candidate. Before I do, we're going to hear from my buddy Dick Morris. Earlier this week, our president, Mr. Obama, said that his auto bailout should serve as a model. Well, I talked about it on this show, and I said he must be delusional if he thinks that's true. I'm not the only one who believes it. Here's Dick Morris.
Obama says he's going to use the GM bailout as the model, the template for future industrial policy in his second term. Good Lord. That's what we'll talk about at lunch today. Every once in a while, this guy lets slip, and you get a sense of what he really has in store for this country. He actually said that he regards the GM case study as being a model for how the administration should interact with business. Ooh. Well, there are a couple of small problems with that, sir. First of all, GM's profits are down 41% this quarter, which reflects an inability to compete in the European market. Secondly, the American taxpayers lost $31 billion in this bailout that they will never, ever see back under the most wildly optimistic of scenarios. Thirdly, out of the 220,000 jobs that General Motors has, employees, 160,000 of them work outside the United States. The U.S. labor force is only about a third of their total labor force. And finally, look at what happened in the GM bailout. You took people's pension money that was invested in General Motors stock, and you declared it essentially worthless. You gave them pennies on the dollar and gave them stock in a defunct old General Motors Corporation that's of all the old models and no factories and just basically a junk heap. And instead, you gave prime position to the United Auto Workers. This precedent of junking the pensioners, junking the stockholders, and raising up the employees is the exact opposite of what American business has always been about. And if that becomes the template, if that becomes the norm, first of all of our pension funds will go broke. And secondly, who on earth would invest money in GM stock or in any stock? The entire stock market, our basic system of capitalizing business, would go wrong. Now, Richard Murdoch, who is now the Republican nominee for Senate in Indiana, having defeated Lugar, was the state treasurer of Indiana. And on behalf of the Indiana pension funds, he brought a lawsuit against Obama over the GM bailout because his pensioners in the Indiana pension system were being shortchanged. And the Supreme Court ruled in his favor. They set that up as the standard law that this would be illegal in the future, but they allowed it in this case under some procedural ruling. But to call that a template is ridiculous. Look, France has gone down that road. In 1945, when de Gaulle took over in France, he decided that the key to recovery was to have one French car company, Renault, one French bank, one French steelmaker, one French drug company, and so forth. And he put all of the state subsidies into that one company and built it up and discouraged competition in the domestic market. And that became the model for French post-war economic development. And it worked great for about 20 years. And then what always happens, happened. The one company got ossified, uncreative, didn't come up with new designs and new ideas. And now the future of the automobile market is obviously German, Japanese, and to some extent Italian, but definitely not French. And that's because of this policy. In fact, all of the French economy became stagnated as a result of that. You can't go around picking winners and losers. And if you do that, you're going to guess wrong. You're going to stifle innovation. You'll stop small business from creating jobs. You'll fall behind the curve. It happened in Japan. It happened in France. Happened in Italy. And with Obama, it would happen in the United States, to say nothing of the burden on the taxpayers of making this kind of subsidy. You know, the best case study of not doing this is China, where 60% of their GDP is in these useless, inefficient, bankrupt state companies that hire workers to produce stuff nobody wants, and essentially is just a drain on the economy. That's as opposed to them being unemployed and getting welfare. They have to make stuff that nobody wants to buy. What carries China is the 40%. That's the capitalist private sector, just the kind of thing that Obama would probably eliminate. So if you needed another reason to vote against Obama, that'll give you one. Thanks for watching.
My friends, we don't need more reasons to vote against Barack Obama. I am dumbfounded, shocked, and amazed that anybody in America plans on doing so. Now, back to the End of the American Dream blog, I just went through with you 39 different ways in which Romney and Obama are essentially the same candidate. And again, a week from today, the guy who wrote this piece, Michael Snyder, will be here on Real Truth as my guest. Reason number 40. Both candidates plan to continue running up more government debt, even though the U.S. government is already $16 trillion in debt, unquote. My friends, when I posted this item on my Facebook page, Real Truth Radio, earlier today, I made a couple of comments. One of the things I wanted to say was, it's so sad. So sad. America has been more successful on just about every front you can imagine than any other country that's ever existed. And instead of following that time-honored business principle that ain't broke, don't fix it, we've insisted on fixing and fixing and fixing and changing and fixing and changing to the point where we are now in decline. We have ruined the, I won't say perfect, but the superb engine of economic progress, and other types of progress, of course. We have Potchka, that's a Yiddish word. We've Potchka, we played with it. We wouldn't leave well enough alone. And now we've gone absolutely bass-ackwards. And one of the worst crimes committed against this nation is the fact that we've got a choice of column A or column A for president. We've got no real choice. It's the end of America as we've known it. It's the victory of the elites who own both candidates. You know, back when Henry Ford started his car company, he was the first and biggest, and he was it. And someone asked him, what colors will your cars be available in? And he told them, people can buy black or black. Didn't matter what the American people wanted because there was no competition. The more things change, the more they stay the same. We'll move on. Item from the BBC. Ecuador has granted asylum to WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange 2 months after he took refuge in its London embassy while fighting extradition from the United Kingdom. It cited fears that Mr. Assange's human rights might be violated. Foreign Minister Riccardo Patino accused the UK of making an open threat to enter its embassy to arrest Mr. Assange. Stop. Julian Assange is a hero. Julian Assange is a hero. He's shining light on the powers that be that want nothing as much as darkness to cover their tracks, to cover their evil doing. He's shining light. Now, I've never been to Ecuador. Don't know a hell of a lot about it. Probably don't need to know a hell of a lot about it, but I'll say this. I give them all the credit in the world for granting asylum to Julian Assange because the Western world, the powers that be, want his head on a platter. Not because he committed a crime, but because he's standing up for freedom, for the average man and woman, for transparency in government. All the things that the bastards who run this world don't want. Julian Assange is a hero. And the leaders of Ecuador who are granting him asylum are also heroes. Item from Breitbart.com. National Field Marshal for the new Black Panthers, King Samir Shabazz, who was caught on videotape allegedly intimidating voters in Philadelphia in 2008, is now in charge of the new Black Panthers plan to create inner-city militaries that would go into nurseries and kill white babies and murder white people in the street, unquote. My friends, I know what you're thinking. Come on, this can't possibly be real. Go to Breitbart.com. See for yourself. Listen for yourself, because there's a video there to be watched and listened to. You don't think this is real? It is real. Item from Atlas Shrugs. My friends, this item hits close to home. Another politician questions the Muslim Brotherhood mega mosque going up on a quiet street in Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn. My friends, I am from Brighton Beach, Brooklyn, right next door to Sheepshead Bay. I use in Sheepshead Bay all the time. This item is about Sheepshead Bay. The related item on the other side of it is about Brighton Beach. So this cuts very close to the bone for me. So pay attention. Pam Geller at Atlas Shrugs writes the following, I quote, "The media is at it again, demonizing any politician who questions the Muslim Brotherhood mega mosque going up on a quiet street in Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn, in an area with few Muslims. Look at what's going on up on Voorhees Avenue. Anyone with half a heart and half a brain can see that this massive structure does not belong in the middle of a residential tree-lined street. Once completed, it will be able to accommodate up to 1,500 people daily, yet not a single parking spot has been allocated for its use. The rights of the residents of the community must be protected as well. The politicians who allowed this monstrous mosque should be strung up. Why? There." Ben Axelrod stokes fears about Voorhees Avenue Mosque. Sheepshead bites. Reader and Bay People member Victor Benari emailed us last week attaching a quote from Ben Axelrod, who's facing off against Assemblyman Steve Simrowitz in the Democratic primary next month. The quote, originally published in the Russian newspaper The Reporter, refers to the so-called Ground Zero Islamic Center as well as the proposed mosque at 2812 Voorhees Avenue. It's translated as following. "I do not believe that most representatives and officials from the state and the city approve of the construction of a mosque at the site of the 9/11 terrorist attack and in this neighborhood in Sheepshead Bay where Muslims certainly don't live. These representatives are quiet and vote yes because it's politically correct. They lie to themselves and their constituents. I'm not a xenophobe. I'm not against mosques, churches, and synagogues. Stop! Stop! Here's where we go off the rails, my friends. Here's where the spin comes in. According to this piece, according to what this guy is saying, in order to be against the building of this mosque, you must also be against churches and synagogues. Explain to me, what is the correlation between churches and synagogues which have been in this country for over 200 years and caused not a whimper, and mosques, where we know people worship whose holy book tells them they've got to conquer us. Mosques where we know, and we do know this, law enforcement knows this, in countless mosques across the United States, they are dispersing materials, written material, educational materials about jihad, anti-Semitic materials, anti-Christian materials. Well, according to this line of thinking, if you're against one of them, you're against all of them, and that's just crap. Let me continue. But if one mosque, an insult to the memory of victims, a challenge to the community living in this area, so I would like to sort things out. Who's behind this and where the financing for this, blah, 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 blah. My friends, I won't bore you with the rest of it. You get the gist. Here's the related item. Neighbors woke up this morning to find that the area's beloved Holocaust Memorial Park, this is in Brighton Beach, New York City's only public Holocaust memorial, was the target of what appears to be anti-Semitic vandalism last night. Police responded to a call for a possible bias incident at the park, located on West End Avenue between Emmons Avenue and Shore Boulevard. My friends, I was at the founding of this park years ago when I was a reporter in New York. A vandal had spray-painted the word, I won't say it, just starts with an F, next to a Star of David on the base of the Eternal Light, the centerpiece of the memorial, according to Councilman Mike Nelson's chief of staff. My friends, if you're detecting a pattern, you're not alone. This is what happens when Muslims enter a neighborhood, no matter what country.
You're listening to The Lion, 10,000 watts, KHNC, 1360 AM, Johnstown, Denver. Now this is the testimony of John when the Jews sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask him, "Who are you?" He confessed and did not deny, but confessed, "I am not the Messiah." And they asked him, "What then? Are you Elijah?" He said, "I am not." "Are you the prophet?" And he answered, "No." The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 19 through 21.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution.
The Beth Messiah Congregation invites you to come and experience a Messianic Roots, biblically-based congregational fellowship as we observe God's Shabbat in Messiah Yeshua. Praise and worship services begin at 10:30 a.m., followed by an Oneg Shabbat meal, mid-Rosh, and fellowship. Beth Messiah Congregation is located at 8333 Acoma Way in North Denver. You can find out more information by calling 1-800-205-6245. Everyone's welcome, so join us this Shabbat. And Shabbat Shalom, good Sabbath. Restore Health and Counseling salutes the men and women in uniform who've answered the call for our freedoms. Let's give them the hero's welcome they deserve as they have fought hard to restore peace. America's troops are our angels of protection, so stand up and salute them proudly. That's from Restore Health and Counseling at 4705 Paris Street, serving Northeast Denver with complete substance abuse counseling for adolescent to adult and for private as well as professional drug, alcohol screening and treatment and rehabilitation. Visit us at www.rhctherapy.com or call 303-373-1188.
Welcome back to Real Truth. My friends, you know I like to jump from topic to topic just to mix it up, keep it interesting. So let's jump to another topic. Jesse Ventura, my former four-time guest here on Real Truth, has a TV show called Conspiracy on True TV. He recently did an episode on mind control, which is a very real thing, by the way. The headline that you'll find on YouTube, and you'll find it linked, I believe, on my Facebook page, or maybe not. I think I didn't link this one yet. James Holmes was a sleeper assassin. James Holmes, of course, the Colorado Batman killer. Now, I don't know what James Holmes was or wasn't. Obviously, he's wacky. Was he a sleeper assassin? I don't know, but let's listen to a few minutes from this episode of Conspiracy with Jesse Ventura.
It all began when we got a call from a law professor who said he'd gotten his hands on some declassified CIA papers.
We're talking about mind control.
Right.
Who were the people who are the victims? Who were the people who are the perpetrators? Mind control as an ability to take over somebody else's mind is not science fiction. It is possible.
Alan Shevlin is more than a top legal scholar. He's the award-winning author of books like The Mind Manipulators, a courtroom expert on mind control. He sought out Jesse Ventura because his research indicates the CIA is creating a new kind of weapon.
I think that the government is still in a mind control business.
Now, I'm familiar with back in the 50s and early 60s what they always term MK Ultra.
Yes.
Is that part of this?
Well, they're all related.
They're all related.
Yeah, I mean, they had interaction with all the different agencies, and they're all part of mind and behavior control experiments.
Okay.
That we certainly can prove, and the agencies don't deny that they did that.
Would these techniques ultimately lead to Manchurian candidates that we've all heard about? People who are more or less hypnotized, programmed, robotic, who would go out and do a political assassination or things of that nature? The Manchurian Candidate. The label for the brainwashed assassin entered popular culture through a novel and 2 movies. Many assume it's all make-believe.
The first question question, I think, is whether the construct of a Manchurian Candidate is possible. Can you take control over somebody's mind to the point where they essentially are your robot, and they're not aware that they are so acting?
And what's the answer to that?
The answer to that is yes.
So it gives plausible denial. You got the typical lone nut assassin, and no conspiracy, nobody tied to
They
him.
could never reveal the information because they didn't know they had it.
Why do you necessarily, would the government need a Manchurian Candidate to do an assassination when you could take a highly trained Navy SEAL and get the job done?
Amnesia.
If they're assassinating someone who they deem should be assassinated, a villain of some sort out there in the world, say an Al-Qaeda terrorist out there, why would they feel fear of the assassin talking about it?
One of the ideas of a Manchurian Candidate is to get somebody from another government to assassinate their head of state.
What do you want me to do?
I would like you to do many things if you could. One is to investigate whether or not the intelligence agencies are continuing the psychological aspects. That work is still going on.
Still going on today.
Yeah.
I'm former military, and it bothers me greatly that our country could continue to use military people as guinea pigs. And that's one reason I think I can dig into this, because if our government is abusing our military personnel like they've been known to do in the past, I would like to turn them over for that.
It's worse than you imagine.
In a time of war, a warning that rogue elements within the government are creating a new generation of assassin through mind control.
My friends, remember that phrase, rogue element. Okay? It's a very valuable phrase, and tragically it's becoming a more valuable phrase. The government is so big, so huge, so vast, the left hand never knows what the right hand is doing. No one can keep track of all the laws and regulations and all the monies and all the budgets and all the employees and all the departments. It is beyond human capacity, and so you have people scurrying around, free to help themselves do whatever. To use the offices of government, to use the money of government, to use the connections of government, to use the influence of government, in some cases to use the technological advances of government for their own agendas. When these people get together and do something behind everyone's back, that's what we in the business call a conspiracy. Rogue elements within the United States government. When people talk about 9/11 being an inside job, this is what they're talking about. Mind control. Now again, was this Batman killer controlled? I don't know. But at least I'm open-minded enough, and I've seen enough and learned enough to keep an open mind, to listen and watch the evidence. There are people who've said Sirhan was such a guy, or James Earl Ray, or Oswald. I don't know. Maybe no human will ever know. But I know that governments in general, and yes, even our government, are capable of doing terrible things. And we know that mind control was happening way back in the 50s. So it's more than half a century since then. Do you think they may have improved the process a little bit? I'm afraid they may well have. Item from Fox News. Apparently I'm not the only one, and Michael Snyder is not the only one, who thinks Obama and Romney are too damn similar. Here's my hero, Judge Andrew Napolitano, holding court. He writes the following. President Obama leads Mitt Romney by 9 percentage points in the latest Fox poll. We demonstrates this presidential election. We have a choice between a president who's posed more of a danger to personal freedom than any in the past 150 years, and a Republican team that wants to return to Bush-style big government. President Obama has begun to show his hand at private fundraisers and in unscripted comments during his campaign. And the essence of his revelations is dark. His vision of a shared prosperity should frighten everyone who believes in freedom, because it's obvious that the president doesn't. He believes the federal government somehow possesses power from some source other than the Constitution that enables it to take from the rich and give to the poor. He calls this a new vision of an America in which prosperity is shared. And he declared, if you've got a business, you didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen. Today in America, nearly half of all households receive either a salary or some financial benefit from the government. The other half pay for it. In Obama's vision for America, no one will be permitted to become too rich, no matter his skills and hard work. He somehow believes that government seizures and transfers of wealth generate prosperity. We know, of course, that the opposite occurs. Seizing wealth through taxation removes it from the private sector for investment. That produces job losses and government dependence on a massive scale. The federal government has a debt of $16 trillion. We have that debt because both political parties have chosen to spend today and put the burden of paying for the spending onto future generations. The debt keeps increasing and the feds have no intention of paying it off. Every time the government has wanted to increase its lawful power to borrow since World War II, members of Congress and presidents from both parties have permitted it to do so. We'll be back.
And of his fullness we have all received, and grace for grace. For the law was given through Moses, but grace and truth came through Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ. No one has seen God at any time. The only begotten Son, who is in the bosom of the Father, He has declared Him. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 16.
No state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque or reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts, pass any bill of attainder, ex post facto law, or law impairing the obligation of contracts, or grant any title of nobility. Article 1, Section 10.
Whether you're in automotive, sporting goods, hardware, health, wellness, electrical, electronics, construction, carpet cleaning, legal, or animal care, and offer exceptional customer service and provide quality services or goods, you're honest, reliable, and professional. If you have a business, we have the customers. Let us put you in touch with our loyal, supportive, and dedicated listeners today. They're waiting to hear from you. It's inexpensive. It's effective. Call KHNC at 1-800-205-6245. CINN stations in Alt salutes our troops. Whether you're for the war or against it, they're still there. These men and women deserve more than our support. They deserve the comfort of home. Send a military care package today. Just type military care package into a search engine. Point and click. Let's show our troops we care. This message from CINN stations in Alt, wishing Godspeed to our fighting men and women and thanking them for their triumphs and their sacrifices.
Guys, welcome back to Real Truth. We've got about a quarter of an hour left in the broadcast week. Let me continue with this piece by Judge Andrew Napolitano. He's saying some wild things here, and he's a judge, and he's on Fox News, so he's not out there saying bizarre, strange things. He knows of which he speaks. The judge continues. Last week, former Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney, the presumptive Republican nominee for president, blasted Obama for borrowing more than $1 trillion in just the past year. He must have forgotten to look at the voting record of his designated running mate, Wisconsin Congressman Paul Ryan. Ryan voted for nearly every request to raise the debt ceiling during his 14 years in Congress. He voted for TARP, the GM bailout, and most of the recent stimulus giveaways. He also voted to pay for the Iraq and Afghanistan wars on a credit card, which added another $1 trillion to the government's debt. And he voted to assault the Constitution by supporting the Patriot Act and its extensions, as well as Obama's unconstitutional proposal to use the military to arrest Americans on American soil and detain those arrested indefinitely. We have a rough idea of how Obama would bring about government control of private industry through Obamacare and Dodd-Frank. From Ryan's voting record, we have a rough idea of what Romney-Ryan would bring us. More of the Bush-era big government. In other words, Ryan is just another big government Republican holding himself out as a fiscal conservative. Even his controversial budget proposals, which the House approved but the Senate declined to address, would have increased government spending. It was less of an increase than Obama wanted, which is why the Senate Democrats refused to consider it, but it was not a cut in spending. I am a firm believer that the Constitution means what it says. The federal government can only do what the Constitution authorizes it to do. The modern-day Republican and Democratic parties have made a shambles of that principle. Nevertheless, I understand that the anybody but Obama urge among those who fear his excesses, as do I. Obama has killed innocents, altered laws, rejected his oath to enforce the law faithfully, and threatened to assault the liberty and property of Americans he hates and fears. Even though Ryan is a smart and humble and likable guy who once was a disciple of Ayn Rand on economics, as am I, the Republicans want to return to the Bush days of war and spending beyond our means and assaults on civil liberties to return. The Bush years were bad for freedom. Without them, we would not have an Obama administration. Which do you want? Unquote. Well, my friends, as usual, the judge is spot on. Americans, real Americans, for a real America, shouldn't want either. We want a grown-up who will cut the damn budget and put us back on the road to economic and fiscal sanity. Tragically, it's not going to be happening in the next 4 years. Item from FoxNews.com. A Pennsylvania woman who offers free lunch every day to low-income children in her neighborhood faces a $600 per day fine next summer if she continues because she did not clear the food giveaway with township officials. Angela Prattis donates her time to distribute the meals supplied by the Archdiocese of Philadelphia and adheres to strict paperwork like filling out weekly reports and being visited biweekly by a state worker, MyFoxPhilly.com reports. Angela saw it as a way to contribute to the community in a positive way, says Ann Ayala, a member of the Archdiocese. There was nothing in it for her. Prattis laughed and said, I don't make a dime. Prattis lived in the township for 3 years. She reportedly distributes the meals to the 60 or so children at a gazebo on her property during the summer months when children are home from school. The Delaware County Times reports that another resident alerted the council about the distribution a few weeks ago. Stop! My friends, perhaps you've seen signs that say, if you see something, say something. Well, this is a pretty damn insidious sign because it gets people spying on each other and informing on each other. I don't mean I saw so-and-so with bomb materials. I mean I saw so-and-so doing something I don't like, so let her have it. Which is what this fool did to Ms. Prattis. The Delaware County Times reports another resident alerted the council about the distribution a few weeks ago. The council investigated and ruled that the practice is not permitted without a variance, the paper reported. You have houses here, the roofs are falling in, and they could be focused on a lot more serious issues than me feeding children, Prattis said. Prattis told the Delaware County Times she's not going to stop feeding the children in the area, unquote. Ms. Prattis is a hero. Ms. Prattis has every reason to be proud. She's a shining example. And the garbage in local government in Delaware County, they should be very, very, very ashamed of themselves. Item from Jihad Watch. Last week in Egypt, when Muslim Brotherhood supporters terrorized the secular media, several Arab websites reported that people were being, quote, crucified. The relevant excerpt follows in translation. Quote, a Sky News Arabic correspondent in Cairo confirmed that protesters belonging to the Muslim Brotherhood crucified those opposing Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi naked on trees in front of the presidential palace while abusing others. Likewise, Muslim Brotherhood supporters locked the doors of the media production facilities at 6 October, that's a major media region in Cairo, where they proceeded to attack several popular journalists, unquote. Just one tiny, itsy-bitsy little thing wrong here, my friends. A tiny little thing. The Muslim Brotherhood, they are our new bestest friends. Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama are cozying up to them, making nice, playing footsie under the table with the Muslim Brotherhood, who will slit your throat if they can. Slit your children's throats if they can. Bring America down in flames if they can. Why? Why is our government making nice with cold-blooded murderers? Item from Reuters. While with the U.S. sending clear public signals to Israel that it's opposed to military action now against Iran, and a cacophonous debate on the matter in Israel, senior Iranian officials continue to threaten Israel with destruction. Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei said Wednesday he was confident, quote, the fake Zionist regime will disappear from the landscape of geography, unquote. That's according to Iran's Mehr news agency. The light of hope will shine on the Palestinian issue, and this Islamic land will certainly be returned to the Palestinian nation, Khamenei was quoted as saying. Sounds like a peace partner to me. What do you think?
He was in the world, and the world was made through him, and the world did not know him. He came to his own, and his own did not receive him. But as many as received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God, to those who believe in his name, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 10 through 13. Article 4. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the places to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. The Beth Messiah congregation invites you to come and experience a Messianic Roots biblically based congregational fellowship as we observe God's Shabbat in Messiah Yeshua. Praise and worship services begin at 10:30 a.m., followed by an Oneg Shabbat meal mid-Rosh and fellowship. Beth Messiah congregation is located at 8333 Acoma Way in North Denver. You can find out more information by calling 1-800-205-6245. Everyone's welcome, so join us this Shabbat. And Shabbat Shalom, good Sabbath. Whether you're in automotive, sporting goods, hardware, health, wellness, electrical, electronics, construction, carpet cleaning, legal, or animal care, and offer exceptional customer service and provide quality services or goods, you're honest, reliable, and professional. If you have a business, we have the customers. Let us put you in touch with our loyal, supportive, and dedicated listeners today. They're waiting to hear from you. It's inexpensive. It's effective. Call KHNC at 1-800-205-6245.
Friends, this theme of Barack Obama and Mitt Romney being all but indistinguishable from each other is a popular one these days. You're hearing it from me. You're hearing it from Judge Napolitano. You heard it from Michael Snyder of the End of the American Dream blog, who, again, will be my guest here next week. And you hear it from Jerry Casale. If you don't know who Jerry Casale is, listen. This comes from Ross Story. To Jerry Casale, co-creator of new wave electro rock group Devo, remember them from the 80s? The 2012 presidential election is as much of a false choice as choosing between Coca-Cola and Pepsi. So even a new wave electro rock group superstar, Jerry Casale, can see that we have no choice in this coming election. Now, here's an update that was attached to this story on Raw Story. It says moments before the story was published, Devo's official website was suddenly blocked by Google, ostensibly for malware. The band's official Twitter account confirmed to Raw Story their site had been hacked. Now, is this coincidence? What the hell do you think? Item from USA Stands with Israel. Following the deportation of several dozen illegal South Sudanese migrants, Interior Minister Eli Yishai said on Thursday he's instructed the Population and Immigration Authority to, quote, begin arresting Eritrean and North Sudanese nationals in the coming weeks. Earlier in the day, an Eritrean man who's seeking asylum in Israel, was arrested on suspicion of committing rape in Tel Aviv. The infiltrator threat is just as severe as the Iranian threat, Yishai told Ynet News, unquote. Correct. Israel has done an excellent job of allowing enemies within their borders. Eritrean immigrants, Sudanese immigrants, Palestinians. They are all deadly enemies. They all need to be pushed out. Item from the website Organic Bites. I quote, yesterday it was revealed that the biotech industry and Big Ag have already dumped $25 million, that's $4.2 million from chemical and seed giant Monsanto alone, into the campaign to defeat Proposition 37 in California, the November 6th Citizens Ballot Initiative that will require genetically engineered foods to be labeled and put an end to the deceptive industry practice of marketing GMO-tainted foods as natural or all-natural, unquote. My friends, any person, any group that is arguing against transparency, against the free exchange of information, is not a friend. It is an enemy. I don't care whether or not they're from your political party, whether they're the same ethnicity, ethnicity, race, religion. Openness, freedom of information is essential, which is why Julian Assange is a hero. And when these companies are pouring billions of dollars into preventing us from learning what the hell is in their products, you got to wonder what the hell they're hiding. We've come to the end of another week here on Real Truth. We'll be back next week. As I said, we'll be celebrating 4 years on the air, telling truths that the major media won't tell you, telling truths that will not make you smile, but they will make you smart, and they will make you wise, and they will scare the crap out of you, which is exactly what we need today. My friends, spend tomorrow and the weekend studying up. Read, share, discuss. That's how we save this country. That's how we save Israel. That's how we save the West from the powers that be that are encroaching. My friends, the best thing I can do for you is leave you with this advice, which I leave you with every Thursday, and it's damn good advice, too. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay angry.
Constitutional Moments are brought to you throughout the day through the generosity of C&C Prototype Machine, Boulder, Colorado.
The Lord brings the counsel of the nations to nothing. He makes the plans of the peoples of no effect. The counsel of the Lord stands forever, the plans of his heart to all generations. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, the people he has chosen as his own inheritance. Psalm 33, verses 10 through 12.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. This is The Lion, KHNC 1360 AM, Johnstown, Denver.
This is your daily newscast from